What's going on, guys? Let's talk about some cryptocurrencies today. So what you're looking at here is the chart that I published on TradingView. This is my high time frame thoughts, something of this nature. So let's talk about where we are, why I have this. We'll start with why I have this as my outlook first. So first, we had this move back here that was clearly an A, B, C. I got a lot of flack during this that this isn't a B wave flat. If we hadn't mapped it out months in advance, then maybe I'd concede somewhere in that. But literally, we followed this structure for 3 months, forecasted it for 3 months from August all the way through to November, the end of November. And it followed every pivot. So why would I agree that this is not a B wave flat? I wouldn't. I simply wouldn't. This is ABC. This is completed. If we go to the 3-day chart, even the weekly shows this as well, you can see that MACD flipped red during this move, suggesting that this move up was complete. This MACD flipped red. When it flipped positive again, that confirmed that this move here was completed. This entire wave down was completed when the 3-day MACD flipped positive. You can see the subwaves of the move on the daily using the MACD subdivision. This move down causes this to turn red. That's our A. The B has subwaves A, B, C. Each one flipped blue, red, blue. And then coming back down on the C wave, we flipped back to red, and it confirmed to the end of that move when it flipped back to blue. So what I'm looking for now is once we flip red on the daily MACD, we can confirm with certainty that this move up was complete. Now we already broke this uptrend. That suggests, hey, it's probably complete. We broke the trend line itself, and we broke the higher low here on a daily chart. We are approaching the higher low here. Once we do this, this trend is complete, but we are still waiting on the lagging indicator, MACD, to confirm the flip. It's very close, but it's not quite there. So back here you can see when we broke this trend line, catching these tops here, we did flip positive after breaking the trend line, confirms the end of this third wave of the A, B, C. And really, we didn't look back once it flipped positive. All of this stuff in red is just junk, accumulation zone. But once it flipped positive, we didn't look back. Now that we've broken this line, we are looking at a MACD crossing. For me, it confirms that we've completed this move up. And because I have it as a larger B wave, this first move being A, because I have it planned out as a larger B wave, I think we continue down here. I'm going to address one other count, but I'll show you in just a moment. Let's talk about MACD. So MACD is moving average, convergence, and divergence using EMAs 12 and 26. So my candles are colored based on the MACD. Again, it's a lagging indicator. I use it for confirmations, not entries. During a trending piece, you can actually get some pretty good entries using a 15-minute MACD, but I don't use it for that purpose. So you can see each time it crosses, the color changes. The only way we can stop it from crossing currently is if we were to get back above this, the faster one, the 12 EMA. If we were to get back above it and flip it positive, then we could potentially stop it from crossing the 26. But we would have to be above 9,600. The likelihood of us going up 800 points before these cross is pretty low. And this is already so sloped downward that it wouldn't turn up immediately, and they may cross anyway. So for me, the confirmation is coming. It's just a matter of when. So turning the MACD off, let's look back at our candles and talk about some targets. So I've been using log recently. I'm going to go down to the 4-hour. Actually, you know what? Let's use the 12-hour. I've been using log recently and been deciding if I want to stick to log or linear, also called arithmetic. You see we broke this trend line and we kind of retested it. But if I flip over to the arithmetic chart, we had a perfect retest of this trend line. In fact, MACD, so it was red here, blew this entire move up. When it retested this, it had turned red. So for me, that confirms already that we were correcting this whole move. So when we got this retest, this was a perfect short entry. But because I was watching the log chart, I didn't get the same short entry. Now we were under it, obviously. This one just gave it a little more clear of an entry. Now you have to, in order to see this line on both modes, you have to select the pivots and extend the line. I'm going to go ahead and hide that because it makes this a little hideous. And let's talk about targets. My first target was down here, around 7K, 6,900 to 6,800. I don't know if we get that low. I do think it's possible. I think it's quite possible. Just because there's so many people that are still bullish, they're buying the dip. But I'm not counting on this. I think we see some solid support here. You see it acted as support, it acted as resistance, acted as support for this last move up. So this could potentially be a support zone around 7,700. I really don't plan on closing any shorts until that level. Could we instead find support around here? Right where we are? It makes sense to bounce from here. Resistance, 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 kind of support, potential support here. It makes sense to bounce from there, but I do not feel like this is a level of reversal. Now, if it is, this would still be our A wave up, and then we have a lower degree A wave down. We would put in a B and a C. So for me, this is the same count, A, B, C, A, B, C. One is just much larger, much more extended, and makes more sense to me in the long term. So could we do that? Absolutely. Could we do something like this? Yes, it's absolutely valid. It's not my primary. It's just not. If we look at time, I always expect the second wave of correction to take longer than the first. So that does take longer. This is just ballparking it, obviously. That does take just barely longer than the first move. So it is valid. I just don't have it as my primary. I think the second wave takes 1.5 to 2 times as long as the first wave down. So let's take this off. But what if I'm wrong? What if we do get that move? What am I waiting for in order to see it? Well, honestly, before I really get into longs, I want to see us come up here into this zone. If we can retest this 9,500 range without seeing rejection, then I would consider longing. Any rejections under 9,500, and I just hold my shorts. We can also watch the trend line down on this move. This, you can get it a little closer if you want and take these points. But anything over these suggests that the next move is up. For now, I still expect 7,700 and 7K. If we also look at volume, let's go back to the daily, let's go 12 hour. And we turn on the VPVR, volume profile for visible range. You can see we have a point of control down here at 7,300. Perfect retest of it here before we're taking off. So this is a potential bounce zone. Maybe we get a wick through this zone. We actually hit a little bit of volume right here, and we have seen a small reaction from it. But it's nothing to celebrate. If bulls get excited about this move, then I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that that move excites you. I mostly expect to come down to 8,100 and 7,200 based specifically on volume. And we may see some wicks to these levels, or possible to see price actually bounce around in them. Volume levels are formed based on where price action spends most of its time. If people are buying and selling in this range, then we are obviously there long enough for some volume to occur. Okay, so I think that's all I've got for now. I'm still expecting continuation down. Let's go ahead and go to the 1 hour. If we look at a bars pattern of something like this, then we could just continue down from there. Now ignore this. This isn't a trend line or anything. That was just my drawing. But we could spend some time hovering around here before continuing down again. Now this move reminds me a lot of the move back here. We had a lot of sideways price action before continuing down, not deep retracements. Finally, we got somewhat of a deep retracement right here. And even then, that's only like a 50% retracement of just this move right here. So it's not anything to celebrate either. Up here, I guess we got a retracement pretty high, and that was sold off. Everything after that was real shallow. I'm pretty much expecting the same thing since that's pretty much what we're seeing so far. Let me delete that. Everything we've seen along the way, we had this one retracement that was pretty high, and everything since then has been real shallow. And for me, that suggests this is all one wave down. And I don't think it's complete yet. I think we have something like this, if even that. We may just go from here. So I am holding shorts. I'm getting paid funding on most of the platforms. I do have one on, what is it? Prime XBT that I'm probably going to close just because I have to pay to hold the position. So I may actually close that one and temporarily send that money over to FTX just to convert it into a stable coin during the rest of this move down rather than pay the funding. We already got a pretty good move here, and that's not the bulk of my account anyway. My entry on that was somewhere around 9,800. So we got a 10% move with leverage. I'm in pretty good shape. If I close now and we continue to targets, I'm missing out on about 10%, but I can reopen over on FTX or BitMEX and collect funding as well, which I do need to check the funding. In fact, let's look at the BitMEX funding indicator for just a moment. And we'll go to an 8-hour chart. Yeah, funding is still positive. This is crazy. Usually in a sell-off, you would expect that funding would drop, and it really hasn't. That's one reason that we're leaning towards thinking that this could just continue down without any kind of relief bounce. I'm blown away. I'm very surprised that funding hasn't fallen at all. This looks incredibly bearish. So this looks great for me. And long wicks like this, you can't get too excited about when the sell-off has been this drastic. Yes, we could potentially come up like this, but even if we do, I would prefer to just hold through the move up than hope to reopen my shorts. All right, that's all I got for Bitcoin. I think I'll go ahead and stop the video, and I will do a separate video on Ethereum, and probably cover Litecoin in that one as well. But if you guys have any questions for me, just let me know, and we will go from there.